I'm reading Stephen King, The Shining, chapter 2, page 15. She looked out of the kitchen window and saw him just sitting there on the curb, not playing with his trucks or the wagon or even the balsa glider that had pleased him so much all of the last week since Jack had brought it home. He was just sitting there watching for their shop-worn VW, his elbows planted on his thighs and his chin propped up in his hands. A 5-year-old kid waiting for his daddy. Wendy suddenly felt bad, almost crying bad. She hung the dish towel over the bar by the sink and went downstairs, buttoning the top 2 buttons of her house dress. Jack in his pride. Hey, no, Al, I don't need any advice. I'm okay for a while. The hallway walls were gouged and marked with crayons, grease pencils, spray paint. The stairs were steep and splintering. The whole building smelled of sour age, and what sort of place was this for Danny after the small, neat brick house in Somerton? The people living there above them on the 3rd floor weren't married, and while that didn't bother her, their constant fighting did. It scared her. The guy up there was Tom, and after the bars had closed and they had returned home, the fights would start in earnest. The rest of the week was just a prelim in comparison. The Friday night fights, Jack called them, but it wasn't funny. The woman, her name was Elaine, would at last be reduced to tears and to repeating over and over again, "Don't, Tom, please don't, please don't." And he would shout at her. Once they had even awakened Danny, and Danny slept like a corpse. The next morning, Jack caught Tom going out and had spoken to him on the sidewalk at some time. Tom started to bluster, and Jack had said something else to him, too quietly for Wendy to hear, and Tom had only shaken his head suddenly and walked away. That had been a week ago, and for a few days had been better, but since the weekend things had been working back to normal. Abnormal. It was bad for the boy. Her sense of grief washed over her again, but she was on the walk now, and it smothered it. Sweeping her dress under her and sitting down on the curb beside him, she said, "What's up, Doc?" He smiled at her, but it was imperfunctory. "Hi, Mom." The glider was between his sneakered feet, and she saw that one of the wings had started to splinter. "Want me to see what I can do with it, honey? Daddy will fix it." Danny had gone back to staring up the street. "No, Dad will fix it." "Your daddy may not be back until supper time, Doc. It's a long drive up into those mountains." "Do you think the bug will break down?" "No, I don't think so." But he had just given her something new to worry about. "Thanks, Danny."